Welcome back. So now let's talk about assessment and audit. Now, basically assessment and audit we need to study from section 59 to section 66. Now what does section 59 deal with? Section 59 deals with self-assessment. It says every registered person has to self-assess his liability and pay the taxes in his GST returns. That is GSTR 3B for a regular taxpayer. So the entire scheme of indirect tax is based on self-assessment. Now, section 60 provides a method of provisional assessment. Now what's provisional assessment? Now say suppose a person is confused with regard to the tax which is applicable. He is not sure whether 12% will apply or 18% will apply, or he is not sure what would be the value on which GST has to be charged because there are various valuation rules. Then in that case he can go to the proper officer. Now once he goes to the proper officer will first do a provisional assessment of duties. He will say provisionally you pay this much, maybe higher amount or lower amount. If they say a lower amount, then they will ask for a bond, and bond will be with a security of 25%. Otherwise he will say please pay full tax. Thereafter we will see it in final assessment. Now once it is provisionally assessed, thereafter he will give a final assessment. Now the time period to complete final assessment is 6 months plus another 6 months extension from additional commissioner, joint commissioner, and 4 years extension from commissioner. So the total time period for which something can be provisionally assessed is 5 years. Then there can be two scenarios. A person has paid excess or short paid, or the third scenario can be correctly paid. Now correctly paid, nothing has to be done, so we are not considering it. But if it is short paid or excess paid, if it is excess paid, then you can file a refund application. And will you get interest, sir? Yes, after 60 days from the date of filing refund application. And at what rate, sir? The rate of interest will be 6% per annum. This will be the rate of interest. So he can file a refund application and he will get interest after 60 days from the date of filing refund application at 6% per annum. If it is through a judgment, it is 9%. Then if it is short paid, then you have to pay it. Pay the difference tax with interest, and interest will be from due date for payment of tax till date of payment, and here the interest will be 18% per annum. Once you pay these, then the security which you have given will be released within 7 working days. So this is how the process of provisional assessment works. Then coming to section 61, which deals with scrutiny of returns. Now officer can scrutinize the returns and send a notice saying that this is the discrepancy which I found. Maybe a discrepancy between what has been reported in GSTR1 versus what has been reported in 3B, 2B versus 3B reporting for the entire financial year. There can be various discrepancies which are noticed by the officer. So he will issue a notice, and once he issues a notice, he has to give time not exceeding 30 days from the notice. Then you will reply. If he is satisfied, then he will drop the proceedings. He will not do anything further. But if he is not satisfied, then in that case he can take 4 actions. First one is he can get a audit by department done. This is called as departmental audit by proper officer. He can also get a special audit done. Special audit is done by CA or CMA. Or he can also get a inspection, search, seizure done. Search and seizure are done only in remote cases where there's too much of tax evasion. Then in that case search and seizure provisions will be applied, and then section 73 or 74 notice can be issued. Directly say 73, 74, yes. In fact, when audit is done, if some discrepancy is found, then 73, 74 only applies. Special audit done, some discrepancy is found, 73, 74. Inspection, search, seizure, 73, 74. So all roads anyways lead to 73, 74. If without doing 1, 2, 3, he is clear with 73, 74, then directly he can take an action under 73 and 74. So this is how the process works for scrutiny of returns. Then you have two best judgment scenarios, section 62 and section 63. These are called as best judgment assessment. Now let me tell you, best judgment assessment overrides any other notice. So this is independent assessment without even show cause notice under 73 or 74. Best judgment assessment can be initiated by department. Now when you talk about best judgment assessment, section 62 is for non-filers of returns and section 63 is for unregistered person who was liable to register or a person whose registration is suo motu cancelled by officer. In these two cases, they can issue best judgment assessment order. Remember, it overrides 73, 74. There is no need to issue a notice under 73, 74 if it is a case of best judgment. Now, non-filers of return, see, already a notice under section 46 would have been sent to file the return within 15 days. Still the person has not filed the return, then the officer can do a best judgment order. Sir, can this best judgment order be withdrawn? Yes. If it can be withdrawn if you have filed the return within 60 days from the best judgment order plus another 60 days, but the next 60 days comes with a late fee of 100 rupees per day. So first there is no late fee for first 60 days. Now once you file the returns, it will be withdrawn. What's the time limit to issue this order? The time limit to issue order is 5 years from due date for filing annual return. 5 years from due date for filing annual return. So due date for filing annual return, from there 5 years. Same way, even here, as notice is already issued under section 46, here a separate notice will be issued under section 63. Now once a notice is issued, 15 days time will be given to reply. If the reply is not satisfactory, then the best judgment order will be passed. Again, the time limit remains same. So two cases where officer can do assessment to the best of his judgment. First one is non-filers of returns and second one is unregistered person who was liable to register or suo motu cancelled and he has evaded taxes. Then in that case a notice will be issued, 15 days time is given, and thereafter best judgment order will be passed. Then we have a discussion of section 64, which is called as summary assessment. Now let's understand what is the meaning of summary assessment. See, summary assessment is basically to save the interest of the revenue. Now what happens? Everything takes time. Issue of show cause notice, then the person will reply to show cause notice, then there will be a personal hearing, then there will be a order passed. Within this time limit, the person would have already run away. Correct, right? The person would have already run away. Now in this case, what to do before he runs away? Can we do something? Yes, summary assessment. A proper officer can pass a summary assessment order if he thinks that delay in passing the order will be prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, and he has a belief that actually tax has been evaded by this particular person. Then in that case, he will pass a summary assessment order. Can this summary assessment order be withdrawn? Yes. One is you make an application within 30 days saying that there is no fraud done. Or suo motu, officer feels that there is no fraud done, and instead of that, normal proceedings under 73 and 74 can be carried out. These are the two cases where it can be done or withdrawn. Okay. Then the last discussion is section 65 and 66. Now 65 deals with audit by department and 66 deals with special audit. Now let's see who initiates this. Audit by department can be initiated by commissioner or an officer authorized by commissioner. But special audit can be initiated by assistant commissioner. Then who will do the audit? Who initiates? And then it is done by, here it is done by department officers, and here it is done by CA/CMA. Correct? Okay. Now what matters? On what matters can you get this audit done? See, department audit can happen for any matter. There is no restriction that this is the matter, only this can be done. Now, any matter. While special audit can be done only for value or ITC. Saying that value we are unable to determine, or ITC is much higher compared to the industry. Then who pays the fees? Not applicable because department officers are already paid. Here it is paid by government. Government pays, sir? Government pays the fees. What's the time limit to complete it? Here it is 3 months plus 6 months. And please understand, 3 months plus 6 months from date on which records were made available to the department, or date from which it was instituted from the place of business of the taxpayer, whichever is later. Careful with this, they can ask you this. From where does this 3 months plus 6 months starts? It starts from date when records are made available or date of institution of audit in the place of business of taxpayer, whichever is later. Careful about these wordings. Special audit 90 days plus an extension of 90 days. What will be the result of this audit and special audit? Obviously, the result of this special audit or audit will be notice under 73 or 74, because all roads from here lead to notice under 73 or 74. Now, let's quickly go through all the points. See, we are discussing assessment and audit. We have section 59 to 66. 59 basically deals with self-assessment. 60 basically deals with provisional assessment. Provisional assessment, we go to the proper officer and say that we are unable to determine my liability, then he will provisionally assess some duty. He might also ask for a security. Bond will be asked, security will be 25% of the bond amount. What's the time period for him to complete it? 6 months, plus additional commissioner or joint commissioner can extend it by another 6 months plus 4 years from the commissioner. Then final assessment order will be passed. If you have paid excess, file a refund application. Will you get interest? Yes, after the expiry of 60 days from the date of filing refund application. Short paid, from the due date till date of payment of tax, you have to pay tax. Say suppose a removal has happened in Jan. What will be the due date for paying tax? 20th Feb. Then section 61 basically deals with scrutiny of returns. Any return can be scrutinized by proper officer for discrepancies. Those discrepancies will be pointed out. A notice will be sent. Reply not more than 30 days time will be given, or such further period as the PO may determine. If he is satisfied with the reply, he will drop the proceedings. If he is not satisfied, he can take 4 actions. 1. Audit, special audit, inspection, search, seizure, notice under 73-74. Then 2 cases of best judgment assessment, order passed without following section 73-74. So it's very quick. 62 deals with non-filers of return. 63 deals with unregistered person who was liable to register, or a person whose registration is suo moto cancelled by PO. In 62, notice was already issued under section 46 saying that you have not filed the return, please file it within 15 days. If still it has not been done, then best judgment order will be passed. It can be withdrawn if you file the returns within 60 days plus another 60 days time. If second 60 days is applicable, then 100 rupees per day is the late fee. Time limit to issue order 5 years from the due date for filing annual return. Now basically section 63 deals with unregistered person who was liable to register, or a person whose registration is suo moto cancelled by officer. Then in that case a best judgment order can be passed if he has not paid the taxes. The time limit remains same, 5 years from due date for filing annual return for that financial year. 64. Summary assessment. The normal process takes time. If department feels that no, this delay in passing the order will be prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, then they can pass a summary assessment. 2 cases where it can be withdrawn: application made by the taxable person within 30 days of receipt of summary assessment order, or suo moto, where the officer feels that instead of following summary assessment, normal proceedings can be carried out. Then you have audit by department and special audit. Who initiates? By whom is it done? What is the fees? What is the time limit? And basically what matters can be adjudicated or assessed. Assessed, not adjudicated. Basically what matters can be assessed. So this was assessment. See you in the next video.